Donald Trump Jr. kicks off his book tour as the 2020 election year rounds the corner. One America's Jack Posobiec sat down with the president's son to catch up on all things 2020.
Excited to sit down here, One American News, Donald Trump Jr. Thank you so much for taking time to sit down with us today here at the beautiful Trump Doral property.
Well, thank you, Jack. Good to be with you.
You're sort of in this pre-tour for your book. It hasn't launched yet, but you've been hitting some of the college campuses and you have a few more coming to go.
Correct. I have a book coming out on November 5th called Triggered. And I've been sort of, out there talking anyway. I figured I was writing a book about the experience that I've had, sort of getting into politics, how I sort of became a conservative, the nonsense that both myself and my family have gone through under the hoaxes and the witch hunts and the nonsense. And it was sort of some of my experience growing up and why I became a conservative through my experience of actually, having a mother that escaped from communism. So it's a little bit of everything that sort of helped develop my own MAGA mindset. And so this is sort of a pre-tour. The book's available for pre-sale. It launches November 5th. And, the reality is we're also in the sprint to 2020. So I'm speaking, all over the place, college campuses, not just to the home team, but to everyone. Even those, some of the college campuses gets a little bit interesting and they try to drown you out. We got to go bring the message to them, just like my father's got to be the president for all people. We are willing to have the conversation with all people about what is going on and try to get some of those facts out there.
So talking about 2020, what do you think about the field? How do you think things are shaping up since we last talked?
Well, the field is interesting. I mean, you have some that are actually surprisingly, seems like Kamala's out of it. She's someone I thought may have been a threat, but obviously just not resonating. The personality is so disingenuous, so fake. She's the only one laughing at her own jokes, and she's laughing way too long and way too hard. Obviously you see the Joe Biden fiasco with the corruption, whether it's the son, whether it's the brother, whether it's, just the nonsense, whether it's, you can't remember who he worked for half the time. Poor man can't get through something without a teleprompter. It's sort of sad to actually watch, but this notion that he's the guy is pretty scary, because if that's your guy, you got a lot to do.
It doesn't quite seem like the Joe Biden of the past.
No, I mean, he's missing it. You see it's just gaffe after gaffe after gaffe. You see the campaign just actively trying to hide him, from a mic. That works well now when you're competing against, 19 other crazy people. It won't work so well when you're one-on-one with Trump. I think he would destroy that. And so, it's interesting. Then you see, the notion of, pushing full-blown communism and socialism through the Warren-Bernie side of things. That's pretty scary. And I have a mother that escaped communism and escaped, that kind of nonsense. Grandparents that made sure I experienced that and went there into communist Czechoslovakia when I was a kid growing up. So the reality of the Democrat field is, to me, not very impressive.
Yeah, we're actually hearing that Warren is having trouble fundraising, that places like Wall Street, Silicon Valley, they don't want to put money into her because of this wealth tax and because of really some of the redistribution that she's talking about would really hit them.
Well, the reality is they're all sort of pushing for that. I mean, because, the Democrats don't offer anything but dependence, right? They need you to be dependent on government. So if they give you everything for free, it's sort of a Santa Claus platform. Sounds wonderful, but there's no real way to fund it. It's like the Green New Deal, right? $93 trillion. Wonderful. To what? Stop farting cows and air travel. That's 15 times U.S. government revenue. So if the government spent nothing on anything else, no roads, no military, no nothing, in 15 years you'd pay for the Green New Deal. And every leading Democrat candidate, I believe, has endorsed this plan. When Mitch McConnell says, okay, vote on it. Oh, you're making us vote on our bill. That's political theater. No. The nonsense that you're perpetrating on the American people, that's political theater. The reality is you have a pretty weak field, but that field becomes stronger when you have a mainstream media who's willing to serve as the marketing wing of the opposite party.
You've got guys like Adam Schiff out there that are creating more nonsense. Meanwhile, you got someone like Hunter Biden who is involved in all sorts of things, and they don't seem to want to talk about him very much, do they?
No, it's interesting. I hear, well, family's off limits. I go, wow, that's weird.
News to you.
Yeah, news to me. I wish family was off limits for the last 3 years when they were trying to throw me in jail. Adam Schiff is probably altering my emails to make it seem like I got emails about WikiLeaks 6 days before rather than 4 days after the rest of the world. They send an email to say, this is Donald Trump during my testimony. I mean, private closed-door testimony. I hand them my information. The only problem is they took out the 1 in 14 to make the 14 a 4. When you delete the 1, it looks like, I think the stuff came out on the 10th, so they said, oh, he got it on the 4th. I go, what are you talking about? Here's the email, it's 14. Oh.
Which was after WikiLeaks.
So they literally
had been
altered
released.
my emails to try to create a sensationalist story to hurt Trump. I say that Adam Schiff is the Jussie Smollett of politics, except he's gotten away with it time and time again, not just once. So he's actually worse. That's been going on forever. They have, inquisition, they have closed-door testimony, they selectively leak what he wants out there, and then every Republican congressman goes, I was in the room, this is nonsense. No one wants to hear it, including the media. So that's hard to overcome, but again, I do think the American people see through it. I do think they see really what the media is trying to do. They see what we all saw down in Florida, in Orlando at the launch, Trump 2020, when 47,000 people showed up and waited 2 days in the rain to hear a president speak. It's a political movement like none before it.
So final question I got to ask you, what do you think happens if Hillary Clinton dips her big toe back in this race?
Oh, I'd love to see it. I mean, she's the most tone-deaf candidate. She's literally the worst candidate ever put up by the left, probably in the history of American politics. So I think it'd be wonderful. I mean, she still hasn't got, exactly what happened.
She doesn't seem to believe that she lost.
Well, she's either delusional or much worse. I don't know. Either way, I'd love to run against her.
All right, Donald Trump Jr., thank you so much for taking time to sit down with us.
Thanks a lot, Jack.
Thank you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.